guys are having a great week. For those of you visiting for the first time, hi, my name is Kai, and here on this channel we talk about all true crime cases that happen in the 808 state. So if you're interested in true crime and you like Hawaii, I highly suggest that you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bells. Now, before we jump into today's case, I do want to remind you that this video is intended to spread awareness. It's never my intent to spread false information. So if you watch my video and you feel that I got some information incorrect, or if I left out some important facts about the case, please feel free to leave me a comment below and give me a heads up. So today we're talking about the disappearance of 12-year-old Giselle Li. She was the second daughter to her parents. And during this time around Giselle's birth, the Chinese government was trying to solve China's overpopulated problem. What they came up with is urging Chinese citizens to have only one child and no more than two. And if couples wanted to have two children, they needed to space out the births at minimum 4 years apart. If women got pregnant within 4 years between the first and their second child, mothers were told to get an abortion. Giselle Li was born in 1975 and her older sister was born in 1973. Because this did not fall within the 4-year mark and because Nuuanu Li, which is Giselle's mother, did not want to get an abortion, she hid her pregnancy, but this also meant that the Li family wouldn't get extra food and milk supply for Giselle. Nuuanu Li, which is Giselle Li's mother, also had to sell her engagement ring to buy food for the family. Nuuanu Li did go on and have a third daughter, so 3 daughters total, but I'm unsure and I'm unclear as to whether the third daughter was born in China or in America. I have a feeling that the third daughter was born in China and that she had to hide that pregnancy and that daughter as well, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, a very risky move from the Li family, taking into consideration had the Chinese government found out about having these daughters so close within, the time frames and within the 4-year mark, the Li family could have been fined. They could have lost their jobs and they could have been forced to have an abortion or be forced to have sterilization. And when I say sterilization, I mean the Chinese government could have forced the Li family to either have the mother tie her tubes or have the father have a vasectomy. I mean, that's crazy. It's so gutsy, that she wanted to have children so bad that she actually took the chance. Anyways, long story short, they never got caught and she was able to keep all her daughters, which is great. Now, the Li family, the motherhead, she always dreamed about coming to America just to have a better life for her and for her family. Mrs. Li was actually orphaned when she was 9 years old, and she would actually wander through southern China, going from town to town, looking for any type of work that she could. She would often babysit and exchange, for food. And I believe the food that she would get was like watery rice gruel. And I looked it up and basically I can equivalent that to like cream of wheat or oatmeal or porridge. But anyways, Mrs. Li would work as a babysitter in exchange for food. Now, when Mrs. Li was a teenager, she worked as a farmhand, and this is when, dreams and hopes of coming to America really became fruitful for Mrs. Li. She did eventually get married, and then she had the 3 daughters. In 1985, with the help of a relative, the Li family would actually get visas to come to America. And when they came to America, they landed in Hawaii, Oahu to be exact. Now, the Li family found an apartment and settled in on an apartment on Nuuanu Avenue on Oahu. And, things were going fine. The Li heads were working and the children were going to school. I believe Giselle Li was attending Royal Elementary School. Things were going great for the family. They were happy. They felt free in Hawaii until the year 1988. On February 11, 1988, This is the day that changed the Lee family forever.
February 11th, 1988. 12-year-old JIE ZHAO Li was selling benefit chili tickets at this 7-Eleven store at the corner of Nuuanu and Kuakini.
One day while she was there, she just simply disappeared.
Gary Diaz was in charge of the case.
She never had a history of running away, and she didn't have the personality, based on our discussions with the family, of being the type that would run away.
JIE ZHAO had moved to Hawaii from China with her parents and 2 sisters just 2 years earlier. She went to Royal Elementary School.
According to the family, she is a very obedient child. In fact, she is very dear to the heart of the parents.
Posters and flyers went up. Word went out through the news media, and there was an extensive search.
We have a crime reduction unit from Kalihi on foot in the street areas, checking with the neighbors again, looking for witnesses, evidence, any other information that might help us.
Hundreds of officers got involved with this investigation, and we ended up on a dead-end street.
That's despite tips and leads that came in. Diaz says a person of interest was a mentally ill man who had a run-in with another little girl at that 7-Eleven.
He would tell us on several occasions, "I'll show you where she is," or "I'll show you where she's buried." But his conversations with us led us to conduct an extremely extensive search of the Nuuanu stream area, utilizing our SWAT team and the dogs that we had with the department at the time. And we came up with nothing.
Another tip was that someone thought they saw a young Asian girl get into a 1950s Chevy.
So what we did was we ran a computer check through our research department and came up with a list of all registered Chevrolets between 1953 and 1959. And we made physical checks of every single Chevrolet.
Nothing came of that either. Someone else suggested JIE ZHAO had been kidnapped by someone from China.
It's been 30 years. Do you believe JIE ZHAO Li is still alive?
Well, I am among the group of people who believe that she met with foul play. Now, that being said, I would pray that I'm wrong, that nothing happened to her, and that somehow, somewhere, she's alive somewhere, and somewhere and somehow she'll come forward if she is alive.
This is what JIE ZHAO may look like as an adult. Today, she would be 43 years old. Diaz says it's a case he still thinks about.
You kind of always say, did I do enough? Did we do enough? We felt that at the time of the incident, we did the best we could to try and locate her.
We reached out to JIE ZHAO Li's mother through her attorney. She declined to do an interview. We were told, on behalf of Mrs. Li, she would like to extend her heartfelt appreciation to the news media, HPD, the AG's office, and all of the other organizations which have so tirelessly assisted on this tragedy. Although it has been 30 years, she still thinks of JIE ZHAO every single day and still has hopes for information leading to her recovery without fail. So if you have any information that can help solve this cold case, contact Crime Stoppers or Missing Child Center Hawaii.
Now, Giselle and her mother, they agreed upon a time that Giselle would return home, which was 6 o'clock p.m. 6 o'clock p.m. came around and her daughter did not return. When 6:30 came about, Mrs. Li went out looking for her daughter in the neighborhood. And unfortunately, she never saw Giselle Li again. So 9 o'clock p.m. on that night, on February 11, 1988, Mrs. Li called the police to report her daughter missing. Now, it wasn't until the next morning that the police set up roadblocks. They put up posters, flyers. They were going from door to door, talking to residents, talking to people at 7-Eleven, just doing everything and anything they could to get a clue as to where Giselle Li was.
And then I was using the phone, and she asked the holy man if she wanted to buy a chili ticket, and then he said no.
And then what?
And then she walked right there, then walked away.
Police and the military blanketed the area for clues or information, but found nothing. So why the renewed interest in the case?
It's not a exactly renewed interest. The case is opening again since the clearinghouse got started in November.
Clarkin says reopening the case does not necessarily mean police are any closer to solving it.
But it does mean that we're getting more leads. We can investigate new leads, and we've got other avenues open to us that we never had before.
Age progression sketches of Giselle have come out over the past 30 years, and seeing what her daughter might look like would have Mrs. Lee crying for days. There isn't a day that goes by that she doesn't think about her daughter. Mrs. Lee has never given up hope, but the heartache of not knowing what happened to her daughter is still so very fresh, it seems just like yesterday. All she has left are school mementos and one picture. Mrs. Lee said she had more pictures, but the media did not return them to her. The Lee family, although they moved out of that Nuuanu apartment that they shared with Giselle, the Lee family, they have the same phone number they did back in 1988 in case Giselle ever calls. I've heard and read in one source that Mrs. Lee will sit by the phone every single night just in case her daughter calls. If you have any information about this case, guys, please call Crime Stoppers at 808-955-8300. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Again, I apologize for the setup this week. Hopefully next week, things will be back to normal. All right. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Bye.